Coming up, what can we expect from Major League Rugby as it kicks off its ninth season? And what can we look forward to in the upcoming Pacific 4 series? And what on earth is the Rugby Nations Cup? Stick around to find out. This is the Mall Street Journal. Hello, and welcome back to the Mall Street Journal, your one-stop shop for all things American rugby. As always, I'm your host, David Lawrence. I'm joined from San Antonio by Kolye. Kolye, how the heck are you tonight?
I'm good, thank you. This past weekend, I went to one of the many Texas Renaissance fairs, and that
Ooh.
was an experience.
You made the right call in not telling David before recording because now he's entranced. You have to tell us how was it? Because David and I have discussed actually, Texas is one of the places we haven't gotten. Neither of us, we're both big Ren Fair fans. How is
Yeah,
it?
Pretty good.
huge.
They've
That
or
was a lot
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
hesitation.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Quite large, quite large. Everyone goes all out.
You'd hope.
There's
Do they do fake
a
English
ton of
accents or do they
live
stick with
music.
their
Yeah.
Texas accents?
Oh my God. Could you imagine trying to do Bard in Texan? It's good.
It was generally stuck with the accents.
Nice.
All right.
I
All
mean,
right.
to be fair, Americans trying to do British accents, never a
Already
good
not
idea.
great.
Yeah, yeah.
Already not great. Okay, so I think I know the answer, but just to have fun, did you dress up?
I I was not able to this
I,
time.
yeah,
My
yeah, totally
kids
fair.
did. My
And
kids
by the
did.
way, and by the way, neither of us can, and I know this only because I've seen photographic evidence. We have no shot against David and his family. There's no point.
We've
There's
been
no
at
point.
been
No,
at it
no.
a
When
while.
you get to have both parents in the family who are theater nerds, it's over.
And by the way, my
Over.
partner ran the costume shop, so
Oh, my
uh,
steak is too tender. My lobster is too buttery.
so of course, also coming to us from Seward's Folly, it's Rugby Julia. Julia, are you keeping warm?
I am. It's very cold out here and folly indeed. I did, however, get to see Lev Kelter and Catherine Treader. So,
Oh, dip.
I mean, they're from there.
In your house? No.
If only.
Okay.
No, I had to go all the way to Alaska to see them. I assumed that we were going to go see if I did, but absolutely, I know. The whole folly was just buying the state. For our other listeners who are like, I love his references, I don't know what he's talking about. Seward's Folly was simply acquiring Alaska.
Yeah, yeah. And and of course the legacy of Sarah Palin.
I mean,
Well, we've got a surprising amount to cover today. So as per usual, we'll jump right into some news. Kolya, got anything on your radar this week?
So the biggest thing announced today is the World Rugby Nations Cup, which has decided to, or which has released its schedule for the inaugural competition. It's going to start in July, on July 4th, actually, with two matches. Let me find the actual schedule. Yes. Yeah, round one, July 4th, with USA versus Portugal, Canada versus Spain, Tonga, Zimbabwe, Chile, Romania, Samoa and Hong Kong, and Uruguay and Georgia.
it's going to be a lot of fun.
It is a hodgepodge of nations.
It is, but like that's
Yes,
so
yes.
many cool rugby nations. And I admit that I didn't get to read enough just because I was running around before we recorded. Is it all in one place or are we doing multiple locations?
It is multiple locations. It
Okay,
is
that's what
multiple
I thought.
locations.
And
So Tonga, Zimbabwe is going to be in Denver,
oh,
Wow.
along with the US Portugal,
okay,
but
that was what I was
but
wondering.
there's a game. Yeah, yeah. There's a game in Edmonton, Canada.
Right, yes.
There's a game in
Oh,
Oh,
Santiago,
wow.
Chile,
I'm so
and
happy.
there's a game in Montevideo.
Oh
The
my
the fir-
gosh.
the first one you mentioned, hey Pacific Islanders, have you ever been a mile above sea level?
I was gonna say, and you're absolutely right. And then
Yeah.
interestingly enough, the other two. So what I really love about this and what everybody has been talking about, I don't know, you guys will get to it, but this is a huge, huge opportunity for South American rugby. I am thrilled they're
Yeah.
going to Montevideo. Everybody who went to Montevideo for Sevens 2 loved it.
Yep.
Just like I'm so jealous. Like it's why did Sevens 2 get to go to Sao Paulo? Why didn't I get to see my teams in Sao Paulo? Everybody has so much fun. But so Denver and Chile were like, so we're gonna really get you up there, right up in the air.
Yeah.
Hope you done altitude training there like we are from a tiny island.
Yeah. Then you've got the second round, July 11th, with matches again in Montevideo, in Viña del Mar, Chile, and in Charlotte, North Carolina.
I
And
didn't
then,
see Charlotte. Sorry.
yeah,
By the way, I'm just kind of on the fly looking our pool A. It's Canada, Chile, Samoa, Tonga, Uruguay, and us. If I'm right, Uruguay are the only team currently ranked higher than us, amazingly, on that list.
Hmm. Okay. I mean,
Are we going to run the table?
yeah, that's what I was gonna. I mean, that was what I was trying to figure out how to
we're
diplomatically
playing
say.
Zimbabwe, Portugal, and Spain.
And remember, Portugal did just shock win REC. Like, they're
Yes.
nothing to laugh at anymore. They're just
Yes.
not. Yeah.
And last time we played Spain, we lost.
Yep.
Yes. And it was ugly.
Yeah, I mean, the rankings are one thing. But to be fair, if we are being honest about it, we talk about the rankings a lot, especially in men's. Actually, men's versus women's is because there's such a disparity between the number of matches that most of these teams play, and then basically the top 6 to top 10 that they get to play. Nobody else gets to be in the Six Nations. No one else gets to be I mean, no one else gets to be South Africa, New Zealand, or Australia. Like, there are so few opportunities to raise and rank. And I mean,
a
that's
great
how you
point.
end up. I know, well, it's how you end up with pools like this, which honestly, for us three, as like fans of the global game in general, great. Because we don't care who we watch. Like, we would just like to watch new fun rugby. But for those especially older school people who they just want to see New Zealand play South Africa again, like, okay, fine, don't watch. It's going to be a lot of
Kolye,
fun.
Kolye, from those
Yeah.
fixtures you just mentioned, do I deduce? So I listed Pool A. We're not playing the teams in Pool A. Pool A plays
No,
Pool B.
we're
Is that
playing
it?
teams in Pool B. Yes,
Yeah,
that
it's
appears
cross
to be
pool.
what it is.
Huh.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Not a
Yeah,
typical
it's
pool.
very
Interesting.
strange.
Wow. That's a
Yeah.
weird one. Leave it to
Yeah.
rugby. They're like, you know what worked last time? Let's not do that.
Let's not do that. Although we are an American rugby podcast, so we're allowed to say it. Has it ever worked? Uh, again, outside of those top 10 teams. I don't know. I've been thinking
Yeah.
about it a lot. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead,
And
Kolye.
then I'm sure we'll dig deeper into this later. The other is that we have the Pacific 4 kicking off in about 2 weeks' time
Oh, yes. I've lots
Yes,
to talk
that
about.
with USA New Zealand playing in Sacramento.
yes, that is
Yes, indeed.
coming up very quickly.
Very excited. We'll definitely be talking about that more in a bit.
Yeah.
Julia, anything pressing come across your desk this week?
No, not this week. Nothing pressing coming across this week. We didn't. I don't think we planned any time for it. So I will talk about this story where I was up at the New York Sevens, met this guy. Uh, really fun guy.
Total weirdo.
Didn't expect. Kind of a weirdo. Really great dude. Really ended up spending that. Okay, the bid isn't good. I hung out with David a few weekends ago. It was a lot of fun.
It was super fun.
It was super fun. I talked a little bit about it on my women's pod as well. You know, I don't expect we have a ton of crossover. I have some tiny nitpick things about the event, but like overall, well, you and I know, and you and I talked about it, especially when we were there. But you know, two major things, and you know, I give this as feedback on the off chance, Bill Gorin, if you're watching, I know you're not. Bill Gorin, our new USA Rugby CEO. I don't think, uh, I don't think the Tri Cities, I don't think the Northeast was the right time for early March. It was no surprise that it was incredibly cold. It was about 38 one of the days we were there.
Yeah,
Um,
it was raw.
it was raw.
We were like cats following the sun around though, which helped quite
We
a bit.
did, which helped quite a bit, and it was a lot of fun. And I will say this, and because this is an American pod, and I don't want to throw you guys under the bus, but like, are we woke? Yes, a little bit. So I will say it. We didn't expect there to be a big crowd. We did not expect a lot of people to come to America for this. What I was surprised by is that I had no idea that we even had that many South Africans in America,
Yeah.
but all of them were at this event. I will say this, and especially folks who are listening from other major rugby nations, like you have to understand, in America, it's very rare to hear a South African accent. And I will say this, I very stupidly wore the worst outfit in the world to wear on the first day. I wore my green Mexico sweatshirt and my green and gold Brazil hat, but I did not get hassled by a single South African. So
No, surprisingly, I was expecting people to be shouting "Go
I
Bucka!"
know. Well, no, I expected them to be like Baka, and I'd be like,
No,
see, Baka. Nope, a lot of
it
fun.
was. We got to see some USA Eagles. The Fijiana were just kind
Exactly.
of hanging around in the stadium while they were kind of half paying attention while the Fiji men were playing, and they one of them was
Absolutely.
asked me like, "By the way, how they were doing?" I was like, not good.
No, no. I would also like to say this. We David and I were ambling around and we encountered somebody working at one of the bars who had never seen rugby before, and she took the job because she was like, "What is this event?" 'Cause the bar that she was working in front of happened to be right in front of the Fiji fans. She was like, "So is this rugby?" And we're like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's how they are."
at its best,
The loudest Fijians you can imagine at an American rugby event.
it
Um,
was fantastic.
yeah, it meant a lot to folks like me and David who
So
don't
the
get to
thing,
see this kind of
so
event here.
I got to wear my inflatable outfit that looks like I'm riding on an
And I
eagle,
have a story for that.
and I was pleased. I saved it for our match against the Black Ferns. Probably shouldn't have saved it. 'Cause that was,
It,
we got a little pantsed in that one, and so of course you have no idea if you're going to be caught on the broadcast or not. I planted myself right in
you
between the
knew.
sticks. I planted myself so I would be, but you never know. And as we were finishing getting skunked, I was trying to walking up the stairs trying to get the thing off and struggling with it. And I was like, if the camera people are smart, this is the shot they
No,
want. The American
no,
fan
I didn't
struggling to
even know
get out of
that.
the inflatable eagle, but they didn't get it.
And I would like to add, and you guys both know, I know, but still, it's fun if anybody, if anybody who isn't our friends didn't already know. I did end up getting a text. So I unfortunately got really sick overnight, and I wasn't there for that one. But my friends all thought I was still there. So one of them texted me while David was on screen on the national broadcast, and was like, "I swear, I just saw a guy in a chicken that looks just like David," and I was like, "That was David."
It wasn't that clearly an eagle, I suppose. It came with an inflatable hat too, but it didn't fit my big old head. Um, so we're a few days late to do a full preview, but the new season of Major League Rugby is upon us with one leadoff match already in the books. On Friday, the new look California Legion faced off against the USA developmental side, Anthem RFC. We were half-heartedly messaging each other during this one, a match that saw Anthem get their first ever win, 26-39. Kolya, what were your takeaways from the opening fixture of the new season?
I want the audience to know that you guys gave this such a good effort. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. I have two major takeaways. One, the California super team is going to die a horrible, horrible death.
I wish everybody knew how funny you were in chat. Just because, like, when you're really comfortable with us, the shit you say is very funny.
Like
I
they
want you
had
to know, I want chat to know that Kolye is so fucking unimpressed.
like there it looked like there were five fans there.
As
And
every message that I got from you seemed more despondent.
yeah, yeah, like David and I both know that the San Diego Legion had this really, really passionate fan base.
Yeah.
You've got the people with dressed up as Romans, all sorts of stuff,
Second best fans in the league.
and they were given all these promises when this California Legion thing was created where like the former San Diego Legion players are going to get like first dibs on contracts, and like most of the stuff is going to go to San Diego, and they're going to keep some of the branding and things like that. They've kept the branding. Most of the games or very few of the games are in San Diego, and most of the team is from LA.
Yeah.
Which, if you know the nitty-gritty of American rugby and especially Southwest rugby and actually any sports in general, LA and San Diego love each other. I need you to know how badly I'm shaking my head.
Yes, yes, yes.
For our audio
Eh,
listeners, I am shaking strongly.
And when you only have 5 home games, spreading them out among various locations is
Oh my
a
God.
poisonous recipe to me.
It
But
just seems like it seems like shooting yourself in the foot before you get the right. That was how I felt. And when you guys started clowning, I tuned in. That was why I asked you where it was because I was like, I gotta
yeah.
see. There was one good thing about the broadcast, David. Are you gonna tell us or should I?
oh yeah, absolutely. Brianna Kim was doing color. She was awesome. There were some major issues with the comms in the first 25 minutes.
Mm.
It was lagging
Yes.
behind and then it was just gone. But when it came back and when Brianna was the one doing it, it was great.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad that she and as far as I could tell, I looked at the press release. She's going to be one of the four. She's one of the four anchors for MLR, which is fantastic.
Good.
Yeah.
Do we know the other woman? I don't mean to be like rude, but are you
The
from rugby?
Bellaforto person,
Yeah, she's not from rugby, I don't think.
I
I
don't
don't think so.
believe so. And there was a
Uh-uh.
really, really like I I don't
You
based on
could
the
say
chat,
it.
I don't think either of y'all saw the lead up to the match
No, definitely not.
where
No.
there was this shot of Will Hooley in front of a stand of nobody
Oh, I
talking
didn't know that.
about how next week you need to sign in to Sunday Night Rugby, and then he threw it over in this clearly set up bit to this Bellaforte lady. I hope I'm getting
Mm-hmm.
her name right,
No.
sitting in the studio that ESPN has created,
Mm.
and it looks like this teeny tiny little black box.
And you know,
Does it actually physically represent how much coverage based on the ESPN website that the rugby would occupy?
and so, well, that's my thing though, is that like, for example, the Squidge Boys. The Squidge Boys make tiny room work really well for rugby chatting. But it's two people in an intimate setting having a conversation about something that's right there. It doesn't look so fly by night. What we saw was kind of
In general,
it was
though,
afterthoughty.
the cameras I thought looked better. I thought there was this sounds like I'm grasping at straws, but I
Yeah, I
thought
was
there
gonna
was
say
there
we're
was
patting
higher
them on the back.
quality
We're like, you had cameras this
Yes, yes,
time.
there was higher quality equipment. I think
We
they
could
might have
tell
had
all
a
your
4K
mics
yeah,
worked
camera.
this
They had
time.
different
yeah,
angles. They
yeah.
had,
The broadcast
production.
actually looked much better. It
It
That's
did.
actually
true.
looked more
Absolutely.
like I have
I mean,
in different
ESPN is no
contexts.
slouch.
Yes,
Yeah.
And
yes,
and
yes.
also this happens in South Africa especially where they set up the cameras on one side of the stadium,
Mm.
but the side it's facing is going to be soaked in sun, and everyone's like, "I'm not sitting there,"
Yep.
so they all come to the other side. I mean, a lot of times in South Africa the stadiums are empty as well. But I
Sure.
did wonder during this broadcast, I want there to be at least one camera person who can give us a live,
We
like
can
turn around on the
move.
field shot, maybe give us a shot of the areas where there are people. Like, I
You
think
know,
they might have done themselves a disservice.
I hate to ever compliment them, but I will say like URC at least gets really great cameramen.
Yeah.
Like just gets people who
Well,
know
they
what
clearly have
shots
the little
rugby watchers want.
what are they, the little scooters where they're following
Yeah,
you around?
exactly. And I don't know if So now I'm gonna sound like a woman who doesn't know about rugby. There is one particular camera person who like everybody loves. I think he's URC or he's Rugby Europe. I don't know, but he's an Italian guy, and he's the one. And he sometimes posts highlights of himself about how fast he can run down the pitch with the people. But he's the one who gets the really close ups of the try and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's so good that I follow him just for his camera work.
wow.
But yeah, I would
How have I
love.
not scoured to these levels of rugby coverage? I swear.
You don't have the brainworms that Kolye and I have. You have a rich inner life, and Kolye and I have rugby.
I thought Anthem actually looked pretty good. Once they started to get on a roll, I thought they showed a lot of confidence. There's a ton of improvement for me, even from the last season. Do both of you agree? And if you put your coaching
Yeah,
hats on?
yeah.
Yeah. Anthem looked really good, but what I do want to point
But I
out
fucking hope.
in watching this is like Anthem built a pretty sizable halftime lead and they didn't relinquish it from there. But there were about three times where the Legion just bombed tries, where
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
they dropped a pass out of
I
or
was gonna
under
say.
no pressure
I was gonna say
and
it looks like.
and
I.
then
That's probably
and
indicative of the MLR in general.
I was just
yeah
gonna
and,
say I hate to
yes
say it, but it looked
There's a lot of,
very American.
oh,
It looked very
yes
American men's rugby.
yes
Like I,
yes
the
and
USA
then
men do it too.
the absolute worst thing, and I hope that this is just a like one game thing, but the I think it was the second Mooneyham try,
mm,
which where Mooneyham gets the ball, he kicks ahead and he regathers and runs in for the score, and he seemed confused why no one had caught up to him. Watching it back,
I do remember this
California
now.
just stopped running.
They just stopped,
They
yeah.
literally
It-
stopped running. He kicked the ball, and it's
which
like
is
they thought he was kicking into touch,
I was gonna say,
yeah.
and they just stopped.
which is very international rugby folly. It feels like a moment of just like watching two tier three teams of just being like, shit, I forgot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But it
in our
shouldn't
group chat,
be.
I think the word Kolya used most in description of the California defense was walking.
It was
yes,
yeah.
yeah.
Which
It was bad.
which and I mean, I don't mean to be sounding like I'm like putting pressure on professional athletes or whatever, but like you can't be tired this early in the season.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Well, no, what
and
I mean,
I
I
mean,
don't
I
even mean
am.
it that I don't
yes,
even mean it
yes,
that pithily, right? But they're not paying us. We're tired for different reasons.
yeah, and what I worry about, and what I worry about with how short the season is that this should have been a preseason game.
Yeah.
That
This
okay,
should have been a
so
Or
preseason
at
game.
least there should have been
I
other
didn't
matches of this weekend, so it's not
I was gonna say
the
Yes,
fixture.
yes.
I didn't even think of that, but that's
Yeah, it's a
such a
great
good
point.
point. That's a really good point.
Well,
Honestly,
I mean,
I would have felt completely differently about this match if you had just called it a preseason match.
Yeah,
yeah,
Honestly,
yeah.
you're
Of course,
absolutely. I didn't even think of
Anthem
it
would
because
still be
I'm just
winless.
like, yeah, I understand that you got to like get it going, and I know that MLR is under other pressures other than just put on good rugby.
It was.
However, please put on good rugby.
I'm trying to remain optimistic, but it was a sputtering start. As we've discussed, the
Yeah,
MLR is down to 6 teams this year. My beloved Free Jacks coming
I
in
was
as
gonna say I would have
three-time
started the season
champions.
with the Free Jacks. I would have started with the Free Jacks game. No,
That's
and
what
I'm
the
not even
NFL would have
saying
done.
that. I'm not even saying that because of you. Like, honestly,
No.
as
That's what
a
the
rugby
NFL would have
fan,
done.
I was gonna say, as a rugby fan who knows what sells, like, yeah, that's what I would have done. I would have put the Free Jacks up. The Free Jacks are the only MLR team that I can think of off the top of my head that I know for a fact has international fans. I'm gonna be honest. I really wish it was us, but it's
Well,
not.
the San Diego Legion did, but
yes,
Did
yes.
anyway.
did,
Um,
but you know that they 100% shot themselves in the foot.
well, the Free Jacks are coming in as three-time champions. I'm not sure if I've mentioned that before. Actually, did both of you know that my Free Jacks
Who?
actually won three
Who?
Well,
titles in a
where?
row?
Well, where are they
It,
from?
oh, and I'm not sure if you knew that it would have been four if the stupid New York team hadn't gotten Nihi Milner Scudder and Waisaki Naholo at the last possible moment,
I'm
forcing the
always
league
saying
to
this.
change the rules.
I'm always
Uh,
saying this.
just making sure that you knew that. Uh, anyway, as
But
returning
wait, but wait, but where
champions
are the Free Jacks from?
everywhere, the world,
Oh, okay.
they represent.
I was gonna let you.
Canada.
I was gonna let. Wow. So he ate
Not
your
anymore.
lunch.
Not
He
anymore.
ate your lunch. I was gonna let you say that Boston is the home of
No,
good
no.
men's American rugby. He ate your lunch.
Yikes.
Canada. That's right.
Not anymore. They're gone. They're all in the Pro
Mm.
Day now.
I was
Like
gonna say they fucking
desperately
Yes,
holding on
yes,
to
left.
their
They
eyeballs.
yes,
left.
yes.
They left because we're terrible.
Anyway, as returning champions, one would think that the Free Jacks would be favorites once again, but it doesn't feel that way to me.
Really?
Kolya, what are you hearing? Who do you think are favorites to take home the Shield this season?
Well, if you look at just the rosters, New England, of course, still has a really strong roster. But the two I'd look at as challengers are the Seattle Seawolves, who start on Friday against Old Glory DC, and the Chicago
Cool.
Hounds, who have really recruited well.
Yep.
Mm. Yep.
And by
And
the way, definitely worth mentioning, our general manager. I've named him MVP for the Free Jacks for 3 seasons in a row. He was the architect of this team. He's gone. He took a job with the Hurricanes. He's gone back home to New Zealand. His family's moving back home. It's a dream job for him. I wish him the best of
Yeah.
luck. But when I heard that news, I was like, uh-oh.
Uh, Unfortunately, that's a dream job. Damn.
Julia, what about you? I feel like anytime I hear anything, it's centered on Chicago. But Coley mentioned the Seawolves. They are a solid franchise with a great base. They're one of the ones I thought was unshakable, like San Diego. Seems like Seattle's still doing it.
I think so. I mean, when I think about the various franchise, like we, I know that we, it's hard to start. I know that we are hard on MLR, and I think that people who have listened to us for a while understand that's because we really care and we would really like men's American rugby to continue and to thrive and are facing a lot of challenges. So with that as the background, Seattle was always a team that I kind of thought would never go down in the like obviously we would hope rankings fluctuate, that means it's a competitive league, but I always thought that Seattle would be kind of a mainstay,
Mm.
and I mean that said, okay, so we haven't seen them perform yet this year. I want to hold off until then, only because I don't know it as intimately as I do women's, and I don't want to feel bad before I have to. But if I'm judging all of the other like mainstays off of my own mainstay, which is Old Glory, are you all having as rough a time as we are? Is everything going kind of bad? Well, I mean, it's worth talking about if it's the case that it's not just one team, or if it's not just one team collapsing in the case of Legion. Um, if there's a
The
bigger
t
pattern, if there's a bigger pattern, you want to give everybody else more leeway. You want to give them more slack because you can only do so much within your system. I feel like I'm bloviating, but like I don't know yet. I'm not ready to
So the
to doom to,
SRU
to
has
doomcast.
there's no more connection between the SRU and Old Glory DC. I don't
That's
know
right.
which organization was happier to be done with the other, but but
Well, so the thing is, so I read up on that because I like many people who read about that was kind of surprised to learn that it existed. I had no idea.
yeah.
It honestly doesn't feel like that much of a change, and I've been trying to follow closer in terms of club happenings. It doesn't seem like there's a lot. Honestly, I wonder if McLean even having the chances that he's had is because of that. I don't know.
Sadly, his name is going to come up a little later.
I know.
Major League Rugby runs from this past Friday through the first week in June. After that, there'll be a compressed playoff format and then ultimately a final. They've already got the destination, which is, I guess, progress. This will
Sure.
be the second time it'll be in Chicago at the Pup Stadium. Um, it could be the perfect time for them to realize all these expectations. Of course, I'm hoping that it's going to be my team versus them and
Yeah.
that all the pressure is too much for them. So it's preposterously early, but Kolya, give me the two teams you expect to see in the final.
Chicago, New England.
Julia?
I wouldn't be mad at that at all. That would be, in my opinion, the most fun to watch.
That makes the most sense. It feels like going chalk. That's what I have here in my notes too, but I want it to be some
I was immediately gonna. I mean, obviously, I was gonna say Free Jacks no matter what. Honestly, Hounds. Yeah, sure,
Free Jacks
totally.
DC could cause a very big rift in this pod.
No,
No.
I like good. I like good. I like good rugby.
Yeah.
uh,
I and
oh,
and like I'm floating on, and I hate to bring it back to it, but I am floating on meeting the number one hero who has come out of my state. Like David said, we met Chetta Emba, and she's from Richmond, and I'm like, I
I
don't
didn't know
care.
that.
Yes,
That's so
Chetta
funny.
Emba is from Richmond.
Once again, so you claim her because she's from Richmond. I claim her because she's from Harvard.
Exactly, which I love. Which I love. Yes, no, she went to the same she she was a huge nerd. That's how she got into Harvard, but she went to the
Yeah.
magnet nerd school in Richmond that my sister did as well. Yeah.
Oh, that's
She went to the
cool.
very smarty school in Richmond.
Wow.
Surprise. I don't know how she could have gotten into Harvard.
Well, it's truly domestic season here in the USA. Apart from MLR, I'm ecstatic to announce the return of the WER. The season kicks off May 2nd with a mouth-watering matchup between my Boston Banshees and whatever the team from New York is called. I assume they're called
I don't remember.
really loud and really dirty or something like that. I
The
assume.
the pizza rats.
The Pizza Rats. They absolutely should have gone for that. I would buy a jersey
So
if they had done that, by the way.
So you're right. And the only reason I bring it up is because it has been brought up every single time. It was brought up for PWHL, it was brought up for WER, and they recently got a pro lacrosse team and they were like, we have to have Pizza Rats now. And lacrosse was like, of all of the sports that you have just listed, I don't think we're going to be the Pizza Rats.
Come on,
And
New
that's
York.
true.
The time of the Big
Grow
Apple is
up.
past. It's the time of the
Everyone
Pizza
wants
Rat. Let's
Pizza
go.
Rat.
Well, in any event, we're going to wait till we're a bit closer to do a full
Yes.
WER preview. Julia pointed out earlier in the text thread, there's a lot of frying pans up in the air in terms of who's going to be where, and there could be injuries, though we obviously don't want to look forward to that. However, in the meantime, I wanted to take just a moment to remind everyone that liking, subscribing, and spreading the word of mouth really helps the show grow. We are part of the Global Game Line Network, and we're hovering right around 1,500 subscribers on YouTube right now. If you could do us a favor, tell a friend about the show, that would be phenomenal. If you'd like to get in touch, we're all quite friendly and are more than happy to answer questions or just chat. Thanks to all of you for watching and or listening, and we really hope to hear from you. Thank you again. So we normally like to chat a little bit about the Eagles who are tearing things up over in the PWR, but PWR is on a break to accommodate the Six Nations tournament quite sensibly. If you're following, though, of course, you'll probably be staring in awe at the performance of Lev Kelter, who's been an absolute nightmare for defenders this season. She's leading the league in defenders beaten, including a massive round three performance where she broke 11 tackles in a single match. But we're not going to talk about it this week. The other tournament, however, that's about to begin, of course, the goofily named Pacific 4, as Kolye alluded to earlier. I love this competition. I can't wait for it to get underway, except so many silly names in rugby competitions. Things
It
kick
is.
off
And can I do my spiel because I did it on Women's Rugby Treehouse, and I
100%.
feel like if I float it to you two, you're gonna not only agree with me, you're going to join me in the fervor. Now, Hattie came up with the great name, friend of the pod, Hattie, came up with the great name, but I came up with the idea, so like it's our brainchild. Especially Kolya, I need you to come in and tell me that I'm right. Now Pacific 4, great, whatever, great competition, but there are two. I wouldn't even call them emerging nations. They are already top nations who currently don't participate in any of the global competitions, and that would be South Africa and Japan. Unfortunately, if we included both of them, it could no longer be Pacific, but it could be Ocean's 6.
Oh, dip.
How right am I? Is really what I wanted to ask the two of you. How right am I? So, Pacific 4 is a lot of fun, but it would be way more fun if everybody could go to Cape Town. Like if everybody could go to Tokyo.
Also, Pacific 4 inherently
Now,
sounds like
do
it's
you
the
want to add
islands.
Fiji to that?
Now, Fiji is an interesting one. Fiji would obviously be one of the thoughts that I would have. First of all, it would make it uneven if we did those two. But the reason that I didn't say Fiji is only because Hattie brought up a really great point, which is that it would collapse the Oceania competition.
Okay.
It would.
Yeah.
Which
Ocean
sucks.
Six, that's the way to go.
Ocean 6 is the way to go, and I only say this And like I really want people to understand, obviously we want Fiji there. The only reason I don't is because currently putting that monetary obligation on the Fiji Rugby Union would potentially make them compete less because they would
Yes.
have to do all of the traveling
Yeah.
and everything. That's the only concern. Otherwise, yes, we were thinking both Fiji and Samoa would obviously be great choices. How you reconcile those, I don't know. They deserve to be there. Obviously, we want to see them.
Well, the Pacific Four kicks off in Sacramento on April 11th with a doubleheader, USA versus New Zealand, followed by Canada versus Australia. Kolye, what's your excitement level as we count down the days? What are you most looking forward to?
Hi, I want to see Frida Taufuna again.
I'm so excited. They got her back. She also
Try,
recommitted that
try,
she's not
try.
going to league. She's not going to league.
Whew. I mean,
Yeah, actually, that was a concern. She had been talking
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, yeah. What I had a question about when I saw the squad announced, I think it was
Mm,
yesterday,
yes,
was it
please.
looked like there were still some sevens players who were at the World Cup that are not called up for this.
hmm.
So I have some thinking on that. Um, my thinking is twofold. Number one, Sevens championship is coming up. Like
Yes, yes.
The likes of Soraya Ibarra was what I was wondering about. I was like, how
That
is
same.
I know.
That
Uh,
was the name.
so Ibarra was my first. I was like, where?
Hmm.
What? And Emily Bidewell, like they very smartly had Emily Bidewell put out a
Yeah.
statement where she's just like, we are preparing. Which fantastic. Um, fine. And honestly, I'm gonna be real with you. I expect them to be back for WXC. I think they'll be back.
Okay.
Yeah. I could not see a world without it. Um, she has also expressed separately that she wants to develop both. What I'm really excited about is that some of our sevens that we really rely on. Well, we saw Erica Koulibaly is in the squad, great,
Yes.
but a few of them have expressed that they do want to follow in the 11 footsteps and they want to become true crossovers, which
Hmm.
we can discuss that in another episode. That's kind of a more nitpicky thing that we can. There's pro, there's against. It's really hard to decide for a country that is kind of straddling tier two and tier one. That's hard.
Julia, when you
But
saw the squad, who did you immediately think, "Ooh, I'm looking for a breakout season from her"?
Koulibaly, for
Yeah.
sure. Absolutely. Super young, already has broken out once in WER. So much so that she wasn't
De
on
Defense is
she
the biggest gap, right? Defense is where we need her.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So in rugby in general, you really have to rely on your fullback in terms of defense. For America, it's just, unfortunately, different teams have different, like, different number weakness that, like, the Wales women's team that I love very much constantly has a problem in the 10 shirt. For us, it's fullback. We have a lot of people who can do it.
Yeah.
We don't have anybody who specializes in it. It's hard to convince a sevens player to specialize in like 15's goalkeeper. I get
Yeah.
it. I get it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get it.
That makes sense.
But if you find it to be your love in 15's, like, let us make you a star. That's where I'm at. And I don't know who that will end up being. What I've loved is that what we saw last time is that we're willing to try somebody like Ibarra. We're willing to like try her in a few different places. I'm glad that we're migrating away from the number that you wore in college is the number you wear forever. Um, I'm cautiously hopeful. I'm really excited for PAC4. I think it's gonna give us a lot more answers than I have right now. Because right now I just sound like I'm making shit up.
I insist. I don't know why I insist on calling it Pacific Four because PAC4 sounds like a college football.
I
Like,
know, which is why
Yes,
I like
yes,
it. Because
yes.
yes, and it's one that unlike if you talk about like the SEC that like nobody hates.
yeah.
Nice, it's nice.
Well, Kolya, what about
Especially, well, we are all in the midst of March Madness as well, so we are all experiencing all the schools that we hate. Sorry, go on.
Kolya? I was going to ask you the same question. Who's on your radar? Who are you sitting there when you look down that team sheet, thinking, okay, this
I'm
is her
very
chance to
curious
Well,
who you're
shine.
excited
well,
about.
mine is actually less the team sheet and more the back room. I want to see this new coaching staff and what they have to
Hanratty.
bring.
I'm very excited. I don't know
Great
if I
point.
t I don't know if I got to tell you guys yet, but when Hanratty was announced, several of our sevens players who have obviously trained and played both with and against several times the Canadian girls, which is where he came from. He's Irish Canadian, but I think mostly Irish. Um, but several people like Autumn Zaplicki came in and were just like, I would cut back to 15s.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
That
I'm
was a really
stoked.
good sign. So now,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm stoked. And especially, I'm happy for you, David. Um, Sione Fukafuka is doing really well in Scotland. Everybody loves him. Everybody's happy. Rachel Malcolm just put out a whole article about how much they love having him now, and it's making
Oh,
my
damn it.
feelings hurt. It's
I
making
didn't
my
even see that.
feelings hurt. She's so happy to have him, and I'm like, damn it, my favorite player talking about the coach I wanted.
Well, Kolya, how will you see those changes? What are you looking forward to, seeing like, okay, these are concrete signs of this change?
A 9-10 partnership that works.
That
That would
one,
be nice.
absolutely. Ugh, that's such a good call. For me, it's that and center partnership because
Yeah.
we've constantly had problems there. I know I was like rattling off about the fullback. Fine, whatever. That's not the one I'm worried about. It's 9, 10 and centers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really hope that Erica Gerald Cersei decides that she's just gonna continue her sail form and just like she scores tries now. We just do that now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
We
Yes.
have we have a scoring five.
Mhm.
Great. I'm stoked. I hope that we become
And
that.
she has kind of a Tasmanian devil vibe too, where
And that's the thing
I
is that
just like
when she
I
gets
don't want to
spun
be
up, you
near
don't
those
want to be in front of
elbows.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah, when
Yes.
she gets spun up. Ugh. And that's what it's what I love about American rugby actually in general is that we have several players like that. That's not a one-off. That is very
Yeah.
much, in my opinion, that's an American brand rugby thing. Is that we have a few
Well,
people where like once they get started, you're just like, no, no.
I'm going
Frida
totally
Tafuna, EJS,
I'm going totally
Alev.
off script here, but I feel like this is a thing that I might have just figured. Um, the fact that so many of our USA players, men and women, but even more so, I think the women, are from disparate and different sports, hockey, track, all these
Oh
different
my
things.
God, yes.
They bring different skill sets. And then when they start to evolve in the rugby sphere, those things coalesce into an Erica Jero Cersei where it's like, I don't think I've seen this before. And a Lev Kelter where it's like, that looks
That's
odd.
hockey.
Why,
That's
how is she,
hockey.
Yeah.
right.
Yes.
Like,
I mean,
is this an advantage for us that we may not have really realized?
pod favorite and friend of the us now apparently Charlie Jacoby came from cheerleading and became one of the best props that we've ever like.
Mhm.
That's what we do. We used to, 10 years, and I know Kolye will know especially from back when we were playing, but it was very much viewed as a weakness that rugby didn't come at 5 and 6 like soccer does.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
Colia,
yep.
what's your take?
Very similar. I I think the I think our biggest advantage with something like that is the the intensity of some of these other sports
Mm,
fits well.
Absolutely.
hockey gets used to contact, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I mean, well, and the thing is, what I love is that Alev is the first one who will say, she was like, a lot of this came from ice hockey, straight up. And we say that, and Alev is ours, so we care very much. But on Canada, again, the team that nearly beat England to win the World Cup, like a third of them
Yes,
are hockey
they
players. Yeah, they're all
well,
from.
I'd bet 100% of them played at some point.
Oh, for sure. And that's exactly it.
At a
I'm
minimum.
so glad you said that just because it is one thing that we can bring and that I learned in the women's sphere, but I'm bringing it to everybody. But I didn't know that it wasn't that commonly known that in America, and this is just a fact, in America, and in fact, I have Kolya here to confirm, in America, everyone plays soccer when they're a kid. We all do.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
even I
All
did.
of us. Even
Yep.
David did. Well, the thing is, we even played in PE. And I when I talk to like Hattie and they're like, yeah, we played rugby in PE. I'm like, absolutely never. No, we always play basketball and we always play soccer.
Well, you
All of
can't.
us have played.
The exposure's not there. If you go to Dick's Sporting Goods, the mega store in my world, at
Yeah.
least, of
Yeah.
all sporting goods, You literally can't buy a rugby ball there. They don't have them. They don't have
So
them for
that's
sale.
that's extremely interesting to me. Now, Dick's was one of the first
I
sporting goods
asked, and I
stores
got a
that I.
really funny look on the face of the teenager who was working
Well,
there.
that's crazy though, because you live in New England and I'm here in the Mid-Atlantic, and all of our Dicks have rugby balls.
Really?
Hmm.
There's nothing on the
Which,
walls. There's nothing. Yeah, there's nothing.
right. Well,
Oh, though for
so,
some
and
reason,
I will say,
there's my
when I asked
local
about
like
boots,
my
when I
local
asked
like
about boots,
family entertainment center has, all these different things, go-karts and axe throwing and a trampoline park, and they have this sports simulator, and somehow on the list is rugby. I still haven't tried it yet.
no,
I'm like,
okay. So when I think about what you can simulate, do they make you throw a line
it,
out?
it,
What
it
do
it
they
must just be
make you do?
passing at a it must be
It's got to be
passing at a
passing.
screen. Yeah.
I will say this, and this is also for our folks who are perhaps not American, who listen. What I have loved, and this is what I've noticed. So especially here in DC, at least, all of our local clubs all have a booth at DC Pride, which is one of the top prides in America. It's hundreds of thousands every
It better
year.
be.
Oh, absolutely. And the DC Renegades, which is the gay men's, the DC team that is in the IGR, which is International Gay Rugby. The DC Renegades always have a booth, and they've had it since I was a young little gay. They have like an ancient stand up with the holes cut out for the passing,
Oh, nice.
and they teach
Classic.
people who are curious how you bind in. So they teach you how to bind in a front row, and then
Oh,
basically it's two massive muscular gay men, and they show you about hooking it or binding it as a hooker. And oh my God, I'm so high up off
I
the ground. Oh, you're
I
so
actually
muscular.
I actually meant to ask you to show me that when we
I
finally
know.
met.
I should.
So
Great.
tough news though. Tough news on the injury front. Kate Zachary and Gabby Cantorna, so I blew that three times in a row, have both been ruled out of the upcoming Pacific Four series because of injuries sustained during the PWR. That's a bummer.
It is. If you enjoy painkiller fueled social media, follow Gabby Cantorna. She is on a lot of painkillers. It's very funny. She has been
Nice.
giving. So I'm glad you said that, because I have even worse news on Gabby Cantorna specifically, only because
Oh
she's a
no.
prolific poster. But for why would you be? Gabby Cantorna is currently dating Kristen Bitter, who is also on the American rugby team, and Kristen has been documenting all of her progress since this injury. And today we got a post. Gabby's back in the hospital because her fracture was unstable. They are going back in. Yeah, it's not good. That's not good. But she is high as shit. So if you like a goofy rugby player, and she's narrating everything, and she's acting like she's a celebrity, which is very funny to me. Getting treatment in Exeter is very funny to me.
This is that
Um,
Simpsons episode where Mr. Burns is so high that he thinks that Homer is the Pillsbury Doughboy.
yes, I was going to. Yeah, I'm glad you went there, because I was like, yeah, when Mr. Burns was nice. Exactly.
Well, uh,
Kate, on the
uh,
other hand, is just swollen. She's just swollen.
so other teams in this competition, though, lots of changes. New Zealand, in particular, they're fielding a much changed squad from the group we saw in the last World Cup. A few are because of retirements,
Hmm.
but most are due to players switching back to the sevens. We kind of already hinted around this, including players like Stacey Waka, Caitlin Vahakolo, Braxton Sorensen McGee is enjoying success in the World Series. I gotta ask either of you, does this new look Blackburn squad represent our best chance to nab a famous win?
I don't mean to dominate it, but I'm just reporting what, because I just watched your video from Alice Soper about this, about what the thinking is, and I think there's a small chance it could be good. What I learned from Alice directly, because she's been talking to NZR, is there is a new working relationship between 15s and sevens in New Zealand. Um, while they are also a team that has allowed and celebrated crossovers, they wouldn't have Portia Woodman Wycliffe without it. They have decided that they want to shift their operating standards to maybe not push the crossover so hard. I wonder why that. I don't have good insight into it. She does.
I'm
I
st- I'm
don't.
struggling to
I
understand what that means.
I don't know why.
They want to not push it so hard.
They
That
want to
seems.
not push it so hard, so that neither 15 stars nor 7 stars are overexerting themselves, are overcommitting. Um,
Okay.
yeah, because the way that they are functioning right now
So
is that
so
it's
is
pretty
it
easy for New Zealand.
long story short, they want you to pick.
Um, it's hard to say yes, but like my gut instinct is yes. I it's yes without the official information like somebody like Alice has,
It
but at
sounds
the
like
same
they've cloaked it in so much language that it's like,
they have. We know. Okay, but we also know that this is how New Zealand rugby absolutely operates with their women. Honestly, with their men too, but definitely with
Yeah.
their women. For the longest time, we thought that it was impossible for New Zealand women to play in PWR. This was the first year when they were like, yeah, all right. So no, they do keep it a little bit
they're
cloaked. I
funny
think there
about those
is,
rules.
yeah, absolutely, and they sent their
And by the
cap.
way, Ruahe, a revelation.
I'm a Bears fan.
I
Obviously, I have
know.
opinions about
I can't believe you and
Ruhe.
I never talked about Ruahe Matt.
Oh my God. Well, no, I can't. I don't know if you saw the video that Jenna Devera made, but I cried. Um, Jenna Devera, who plays for Wales and also the Bears, she is also a master's film student. She just graduated with her master's in film studies from University of Bristol. So she does a lot of free, honestly, Bears free social media for Bears. You better be paying her. She made an amazing video of all of the Bears talking about how much Rohe meant to them. So much so that like it made it to New Zealand. Alice is posting about it. Ella
Oh
Ferguson is posting
wow.
about it. It's beautiful. I cried. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna send it to you after. I found my quick cameraman. I'm sending you 2 links. Everyone
Oh
loves to
yeah.
hear it when you say,
We
yeah,
should we
everyone
should put
loves.
them in the links to the show. Like we should
We
share
will
this with
actually.
everybody.
People who were yelling at their computers, who definitely were because the name was on the tip of my tongue. It is Andrea Schioppi. He is Italian. I have his Insta, which is incredibly heartwarming and nice, but he also shows us how he does his cardio, which is basically a rugby player cardio because he has hit over 25 kilometers per hour at a URC, which
Wow.
is 15 miles per hour in fascism units.
D- The in the URC this weekend there was a South African player who they clocked at 36 point something.
Yeah.
That's
And then
dangerous.
this is a guy who likes to have a beer after.
Right.
Like,
Um
nope, couldn't do it.
uh Kolya, I feel like we missed a couple of your points. Are
Oh yes,
you
sorry.
any final bits about the Pacific Four or anything else we've covered this weekend?
Uh, what I want, what I want for the Pacific Four is that we don't get whitewashed. I
Mm,
want a win.
I think it's absolutely
Yes.
within our wheels. And you know what? I hate to be negative, but I'm going to be, it's going to sound negative, but it's really just honest. Um, I'm not as afraid of Australia without Joe Yap. I'm not.
I
interesting.
would, I'm, I'm gonna say the same thing.
No.
Like my bet, like you said that New Zealand might be where you put the target. I'd say
Mm.
Australia.
Oh, no, no, no. Yeah,
Mm,
I
Yeah.
didn't mean to give
Yeah.
off that. My target
Yeah.
is absolutely Australia.
Yeah.
interesting.
Um, and I was telling the lads right before we recorded, I will be if for any reason anybody who's listening will be at the Kansas City doubleheader. I will be there. Very excited. Please drop a comment or whatever. I would love to say hi if I'm not your least favorite member of Mall Street Journal.
So sadly, I did say we'd get back to it eventually, but
Let's.
it's actually good news. Side note, looks like Rufus McLean will be heading over to try his luck in France. So I assume
Don't let the door hit you.
his goal has obviously got to be Montpellier, but we won't see we won't be seeing we won't be seeing him in an Eagles jersey anytime soon.
Oh,
He'll fit right in.
David,
Boom.
David Lawrence canceled in France.
Oh,
I don't think so. I think they're gonna be
I,
like,
I'm
oh,
sure.
that's right.
I'm sure we
Better
will
luck.
still pick him for some reason. I'm sure we'll still
Oh my
pick him for
God,
some
we
reason.
will, and somebody will come out with a
However,
really.
however, on another positive note, no MLR team picked up Drake Davis.
How about that?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that that's partially the influence of Alex Magleby, former CEO of the Free Jacks, who's now sort of
I was gonna say
co-president, which is the weirdest
friend of the
title
pod,
ever.
Mags.
But
Friend of
like
the pod, Mags.
Mags is like, these are the principles that we care about, and he
Yeah.
does not fall into that purview.
God
Yes.
forbid. And so here's where I get canceled. MLR, you don't have to be afraid of being a tiny bit woke. You don't have to go full woke, and you won't.
Yeah.
Tiny bit where you don't have abusers. Pretty cool.
Embrace your gay audience,
Women
please.
like that.
Yeah.
Women like that. And I don't know if you heard, but like we buy most of the stuff for our houses.
Yeah.
Just gonna throw that out there.
Um, this has been great. Listeners, we're planning to be back here on a weekly or at least bi-weekly basis to sort of keep you up to date on all things American rugby, especially the MLR. We're only 4-5 weeks now, I guess, away from the WER. So many things coming up that it's amazing that we have things to talk about in American rugby. If you haven't already, please give us a like or a subscribe, tell a few friends. As always, feel free to get in touch. Before we go, did anyone land on any grassroots before we call it a full lid?
Well, I want to give a shout out to a couple places. So, a couple weeks ago, as I mentioned on the pod we did or a few weeks ago with, I was in Pittsburgh visiting my wife's family, and that weekend I went to first I went to this random German restaurant because Pittsburgh, very, very heavily German.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And
That makes me so happy.
and they've got a bunch of stuff for the South Pittsburgh Hooligans Rugby Club on the wall. And that's a D4 team. That's a D4 rugby team.
I love it. I love
means the
Pennsylvania's
that means
I
the
love
owner is a
Pennsylvania's
dad or a
weird
mom.
rugby love.
Yes, and then after that, on the final day of the Six Nations, I went to Rugger's Pub in Pittsburgh, a pub run by the Pittsburgh Forge Rugby Club, and
It was
unfortunately
so cool.
wasn't able to stay the entire time, and but the the pub had lost power because of a gigantic windstorm that had hit Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah.
Like an absolutely massive windstorm that had hit Pittsburgh. So there's no power on in this pub. But the rugby people still showed up. So you have
As we do.
Yeah. So you've got this group of Irish people watching it on their phone, or the Ireland Scotland match on their phones. You've got this one Scottish couple watching it again on their phones. You've got
This is extremely American. Go on.
Like the entire Pittsburgh women's team coming in
Yep.
to watch. And again
this
on
warms
their
my heart.
phones.
This warms my
And-
heart.
By the way, somebody could have aircasted to the damn TVs.
No
No,
electricity.
they couldn't.
Oh,
they
that's
couldn't
right,
get
sorry.
the TVs.
I know.
Yeah.
Same. I was just
Yeah.
like, cast it.
and
Damn it.
like the Scottish couple was like using a VPN to watch STV's coverage.
That's my ass in the corner. I got the good feed, actually. It's not the one that's insulting.
Yeah, and it was ahead of the Paramount feed, which the Irish people were
Which
doing.
you don't want to hear.
Yeah, which the Irish people were using, and the Irish people were just clowning the Scottish couple the entire time. Like, oh, we scored again, and we scored again.
Oh my God.
It was a lot of fun.
Considering the amount of both Scottish Americans and Irish Americans we have,
Yes, it was a lot of fun.
I wouldn't have felt so safe.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Well, I am a person who
I was gonna say, if
has
I were.
been to a bunch of just really weirdly dangerous sporting events, kind of by
I was gonna say, if I
accident.
were Kolye bodied, I'd feel differently.
Have y'all heard of the Eternal Derby in Belgrade, Serbia?
I have.
From
And
you personally. Yeah, only from me. Yes.
I
I know.
accidentally
I love
like
so many of your Eastern Europe stories.
yeah, I was in Serbia doing
I'm
something.
I'm always saying I was in Serbia.
Yeah, in college and accidentally bought tickets for the ultras section for the Partizan Red Star match,
Oh,
and
and
they're
yet here
literally
Sorry,
you
that's the
are.
setting on
funniest story
fire
you've ever told
things
me.
next to me.
Oh, they were gonna
They're
kill
just setting.
you. They were gonna get you.
Even when the Pumas were in Super Rugby, some of the stadiums they play in Argentina, there's concertina wire. The fences are
Yeah,
30 feet high. There's armed guards. It's like, huh,
yeah,
you guys are used to
My
soccer.
friend was
yes,
at a soccer. My friend was at a soccer match between Romania and Serbia, and she was like, and then the cops came, and I was like, oh, so I don't have that. We don't have that.
yes, yeah, yeah.
Okay. My friends, this has been great. Listeners, we're planning to be back here on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, as I already said. Not too much grassroots, but so much stuff coming up. Major League Rugby kicks off in earnest this coming weekend with our shortened season. So much looking forward to for WER, but the Pacific Four, that's looming large, and we can't wait. Julia, Kolye, this has been incredible. Thanks for your time and insights. Until next time, cheers. Talk to you soon and enjoy your rugby.